right.
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the one and only, in my opinion, the greatest rapper from Portland, Ilion, and also a real life bank robber. And he is here today to talk about the real story, what they don't tell you on the news, right? And give people, I personally wanted to do this with him to give him a platform because I feel like people think to get on the news and the story straight and they just twist and turn. And let's actually take a look at what happened that day. Like, did you actually rob a bank? So would you like to
For sure.
introduce yourself and say something?
Yeah, so I guess if you read whenever you read news reports, usually when it comes to crimes, they usually make whatever case seem like it's the most extreme version of that case. So in my instance,
And sure.
we were saying that I robbed it. Hold on one second, dude. Honestly, I need to get like a fucking torch, dude. Like I can't use a lighter for this shit. Hey baby, do you have the torch out there?
No
The
problem.
torch lighter?
I'm elevated as well.
Sorry, I'm trying to get high and I'm like, dude, I'm like fucking not roasting it hard enough. So yeah, no, so yeah, they'll like change up the stories for sure, like and make it sound like it's the worst version of the crime. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
So let me take it back a second. So you were actually like convicted of robbing a bank. Like you have a bank robbery charge on your record.
No. So see, that's where I can get into it. So that case was dismissed. I was in the article it says I walked into the bank and robbed 50, I demanded 50 cents from the teller. I robbed the bank for 50 cents basically. Had like a big stick in my hand, like a weapon in my hand. So basically walked in with a weapon, a stick. It was like my walking stick at the time. And I can get back into why I even had that and explain that whole story with the person I ran into and everything. Um yeah, so they ended up dismissing it, sending me to Unity.
And what is Unity for people who don't know? Because that is actually where we met, which is after all that happened.
Yeah, we met in Unity.
Do you want to explain it, or you want me to explain it? Basically, it's a psych ward. So instead of jail time, they said
Unity is a very like sophisticated psych ward. Like it's like what psych wards should aim to be.
I agree. I've been to, and as someone who's been to a couple across like the United States, I've had the best treatment over there as someone.
They have the best perks, the fact you can have your phone, you can get food pretty much whenever you're hungry, like you don't have to starve. It's not as bad as being in jail or prison, like you're still locked up due to your
Not, especially having your phone in there. Having your phone there makes a big difference. And that was like the only one Unity where I was like, oh, they have your phone? We can just be
You have
normal.
unlimited data and you have good service, like you're fucking set in there. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, Wi-Fi is horrible, but hey, you have your phone data. Fucking set.
Yeah, I was making the Wi-Fi work. I think they when I left, they gave me some minutes. I'm like, who the fuck still uses minutes? I used up the minutes though. So let's take it back a little bit and go back. So what made you want to walk in there and demand only 50 cents? Like if you're in the hype of everything, because to give people a setting, this was 2020 at the height of BLM protests. There was a lot of talk about Black Lives Matter going on, a lot of rioting, a lot of looting. Everyone was outside basically.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people took stories when everything was happening, and then all this stuff happened to people, and it's like, oh, we kind of forgot about it. But look, we're still here, actually dealing with this stuff that happened then. So why, in the middle of like protesting for Black Lives Matter and everything, what like state of mind were you in to walk in there and only ask for 50 cents? If you're gonna ask them there, why not even get some money? Like what were you thinking, man?
Yeah. I would have to run the day back. It didn't start there. But I was ended up This was before I was this before I met you? This was
Yeah.
before I met you. This
Yeah.
was before I
I
met
met
you.
you.
Because I
You
remember
had
talking
the
about
Reddit posts and all that. I'm like, who is this kid?
yeah.
Showing me.
So ended up just starting that day, just early on. I mean, I was already in a mental crisis. I was having a severe manic episode with psychosis that was leading me kind of on like this like journey or fairy tale journey where I was thinking I had to go to certain places or be at certain places at certain times and that I was getting communications from the universe. So I was in this like fairy tale like fucking yeah, like my own fairy tale story where I thought I was like the main character in some angels versus demons kind of like
Biblical,
spiritual
kind of a biblical connection, though.
something like that. So what happened was at one point I was just walking towards Portland and I was thinking, okay, there's gonna be some kind of nukes or something. Something's gonna happen to Portland. So if I'm in Portland today, something bad is gonna happen, but fuck it, I'm gonna go to Portland anyway, and that's the war zone, was what I was thinking in my head. Like, oh, this is what was going on. So as I was going on my way there, I found some like a big walking stick that kind of was like a whip. It's kind of like a you'd whip it and it wouldn't break. It was like a whip. It's really cool. So I was walking around this
Hmm.
yeah. So I was walking around with that. Ended up getting on the Max, which is the train that is the public
Right.
train
Oh, yeah.
transportation for Portland. Um around Gateway, so like a couple stops from actually entering into the city, the
Mhm.
train stops. Because I'm standing on the train, everyone else is sitting. I'm standing on the aisle the whole time, holding the fucking stick like Darth Maul. Yeah. So it looks
So
a little
you're
weird.
going down the Sith path, like you're just going with the flow, like going on, just you're just
Yeah.
walk. So why were you out there in the first place? Did you not like have a place to stay at the time or something? Like what was?
I always had places to stay, but I'd still choose to roam and be on the streets for days, bro.
You like being outside. You like being outside at the time.
When I was manic, I would choose to be outside. I'd choose to be out in downtown, meet new. I'd choose to interact with new people and be social, like people that were also in struggling situations. I wasn't afraid to go up and talk to them. Uh, around that area downtown where the park is and the jail is. So it's like,
Shout
I'd be roaming around, meeting new people that are cool, getting smoked out. But I'd also just like roam out. I'd go to like Portland, like near the college and like get invited into dorms and get smoked out, do dabs, random college people, yeah.
the outside.
Just cause yeah, just I don't know, people were hella cool, man. So I just like I would just roam around Portland. But I find myself out there so late at night, like past when the Max, I don't know if even the Max even ran at 2 in the morning, right? So I'd be out there at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and Max isn't running, so I'd be stuck out, like literally on the streets like a homeless person, right? That doesn't mean I was homeless or that I was a drug fiend or, like everyone else that's on the streets in Portland. But I would end up being, yeah, you know, just fucking on the streets all night, dude. But basically that day, it didn't go into the city. They stopped the train. They asked me to get off the train because I'm just like the weird guy on the stick with a stick, right? So I ended up kicking like a door or something. It was an opening, and then finally a door opened and I was able to get out. Uh, Everyone was looking at me like, "What the fuck's up with this guy?" Right? Some guy offered me a cigarette. Like he was like rolling up cigarettes. He offered me a cigarette and like threw it out on the ground out there in the wet ground like a douchebag, bro. It was kind of like it was a really weird day. So basically, I ended up walking like a certain direction. I would guess north. And there was like another train that was supposed to go to like the Green Line, and she wouldn't let me on, bro. I was like the doors were shut, and I was like with my stick. I was like knocking at the door. She was like,
They
no.
probably radio. They're like, this maniac walking around with a stick. Do not let him on the train.
So I was thinking, I know this had nothing to do with my story,
Uh-huh.
but I was thinking, oh yeah, it's because war zone, Portland is gonna get nuked, or oh, this is the fight zone. They're not letting me go to Portland. I want to go be in the fight zone. I want to be a part of it, but
They don't. You don't realize you were the one. That you were
yeah.
the attention. That
Yeah, I was the reason. Yeah, but I was thinking they don't want me to be there and be a part of this like big spiritual warfare happening downtown or whatever. They're like protecting me or something. I don't fucking know what's happening, but they're not letting me on the train, so I'm gonna go this way. So I start walking just in a random direction, and I ended up walking towards like a Target. And I was in the parking lot. And I had keep in mind I still have my Darth Maul stick, my walking fucking whip stick, right? I'm walking like this, like I'm a walking stick because it's so whatever. Or I'm walking like this and letting it whip around. It doesn't matter. So like I'm in the parking lot in this Target. This is where it gets weird. This is where we're gonna take a little pause, right? This is where no one's gonna believe me. No one ever can conceive this part of the story, bro. This is where the story gets very fucking weird. This is before the actual bank robbery takes place. So let me
But this
take
is
a little.
all the same day. So like you were
All in the
out there
same
all
day, all
night.
within the same
You're
hour,
still
bro.
up.
It's all in the same hour. This all like I get off the max. I'm like trying to get on another one. And I walk to the parking
Okay.
lot. It's all in the same hour. Then he tells me to go to the. That's what I'm saying. This is
So it
all
wasn't meditated at all.
meditate. Say that one more time.
This wasn't premeditated. You weren't
No,
planning
no,
on Hank
not
ever.
at all. So random, bro. Yeah, absolutely. He's the one that came up with the idea, who I'm about to mention. So we're just taking a dab break.
Just outside.
I gotta get high for this part, bro. This is where it's
Oh,
like.
you're taking a dab. Oh, yes, please.
That one more time.
You're describing this guy that they came to you. He saw you were like tripping on the train with the stick. What happened?
So I ended up, yeah, walking away from the second train that wouldn't let me on, and then ended up walking into the Target parking lot with my walking stick.
Mhm.
And this is where I can't make this up. And I'm saying word for word, even though I was in a manic psychosis, I still remember my conversations. And I'm gonna get to different interactions with different people and those conversations. I still remember everything clearly, and it's very accurate. Just when you're manic or you
Yeah,
still remember stuff.
I remember a lot. I do black out, but I do remember a lot of how I get up to that blackout. Do you ever black out just because you're so manic, you just like your body like just shuts down after like a couple days of being awake? Because my problem was like I would
Hold
just
on
stay
one second,
awake.
bro.
So at this point, how long were you awake for?
Uh, yeah, I forgot. I was supposed to like help set up a phone hours ago, and I told you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we're
Kim's doing
almost
that.
done, right?
Kim's doing that. Here, rerun it. So keep recording.
Okay, so yes. So you were getting off the train and this guy comes up to you and you were saying you remember like everything. Even though you were manic, even though you're acting crazy, you remember very vividly what happened. At least
Oh yeah,
your perspective, right?
definitely.
So I can
So keep in
confirm
mind.
that.
So I'm walking in this parking lot with this walking stick. This guy that is dressed up. He's all black. He's bald with no beard, with a walking stick,
It
with a
looks like a
giant
full
walking stick. Walks up to me, walking with this giant walking stick out of like the garden, bro. Like literally, there's the parking lot, there's a Target, then there's just a bunch of grass and trees and shrubs and just this whole foresty area. He walks out of that with a walking stick looking like Voldemort. Comes up to me, bro. The most psychotic looking eyes, bro. Stares in my eyes. He's like, I know who you are. I was sent here. I murdered my whole family for you. I killed my wife and kids for you. I did this. Look at my eyes. You can tell just the way I'm talking to you. I'm just being straight up with you. You can tell I'm really being serious. And I need you to do this for me. And then we were walking as he was doing that. Yeah, dude. Like literally, like I don't know this guy, bro. But he doesn't know who I could be a cop. Like obviously I'm not. Obviously he probably could tell I'm not. But it's like, what if I was? Like you're that psychotic, you're gonna come up and just tell me I did all this. Like, so it was just some weird energy, right? Or he sensed my psychotic energy, and then he came up to me and we're walking up
that's
to the road.
negative.
What's up?
He was negative too, like off jump.
But he was acting like he was above me, like he was Satan or something. So at the time, I was thinking I ran into like the devil. But he's just like, oh yeah, I know who you are, Sean, and all this stuff from the past life. and all this stuff. And he's like, I need you to do something for me. I need you to get my money. And we walked up to the street. He got in the middle of the road and stopped cars. He's like, that's Sean. And started bowing towards me, bro. And then he's like, take my stick. Threw me, and he's like, give me your stick. And so I had to throw my stick to him. He's in the middle of the road and blocking cars at this point. We switched sticks. He's like, go get my money for me. Go to the bank, rob it, or whatever. Go find it, whatever. So I literally walk off. He's in, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I have his stick now. It's a bigger, thicker stick. It's not a whip. It's another walking stick. I walk up to a group of people. I'm like, which way's the bank? They're like, just up the road. So I walk to the bank, walk in with the walking stick.
Just the bank. You just said the bank, not even a specific bank.
The U.S. bank. Now, before I walked in, I had this thought, bro. I was like, this is the devil. Or, because I was obviously psychotic at the time. I was like, whoever this guy is, I'm not actually going to go rob the bank for him or do this for him for a specific amount of money. I'm just going to, if I have some kind of deal with the devil or I have to do a specific task, but I don't want to go to prison for it, it's like, fuck it, I'm just going to demand 50 cents. That's what my brain was. I was thinking I made some kind of spiritual pact.
You felt like you had to do it in the
Oh,
moment.
yeah, I felt like I had to do it because this guy came out of nowhere and said all this stuff. And then, like, I did all this and did all that, and you're the chosen one, and he's bowing and doing all this. I'm just like, okay, I got to do some kind of deal. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do it for 50 cents. Fuck it, because of the rapper 50 Cent. And at the time, all these signs were coming to me, and I was like, oh, 50 cents, so that's what I have to do it for. So I just, like, walked in, and I was like, give me 50 cents. Bitch, or some shit. Or, I want 50 cents or some shit. I was just demanding it. She's like, are you serious? Are you really? Or are you, huh? Like, confused. Like, she's like almost trying not to laugh. Hey, you really just want 50 cents? I'm like, give me fucking 50 cents right fucking now. Like, and she's like, okay. And she gave me the 50 cents. And then, like, I just, like, walked out. And, like, I
You're
remember,
by
like,
yourself. The guy didn't come with you.
No, he was, like, in the middle of the road. And, like,
Still.
I left him there. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I walked out the back door, and you can't re-enter through that door. At some point, I remember trying to re-enter through that door, and they were so nice. They're like trying to tell me to go around and shit. They were just confused, bro. But anyway, I walk out. So
she gave you the 50 cents?
Oh yeah, she gave it to me, and I walked out, right? And then they called the
But
cops.
did she, like, pull it out of her pocket? She, like, actually opened up?
No, there was a fucking bunch of quarters just sitting at the desk, bro. She just grabbed 50 cents off her desk and handed it to me. Yeah, it was on the desk in the bank.
So it wasn't even a robbery.
That's the thing, is like, that's the point. Yeah, it's not like an actual, like, bank robbery. No, it's weird. So like, literally, I walk out. There's this angry guy mean mugging me, but it's like, we'll get back to him because I have to deal with him. I didn't know, like, big gulps are usually like $1, bro. But I just walked across the street to 7-Eleven. And yeah, the big gulps were on sale for 50 cents, so I ended up spending the 50 cents. I think I just bought, like, ice. I literally just filled it up with ice and paid 50 cents. It was funny because the cops thought I got soda or some shit, and they made a joke out of it later. So yeah, I filled up the cup with ice, walked back to the bank, tried to walk through the door, and that's when they're like, go around. No, it's, you can't get back in through that way. And that's when that same guy that was mean mugging me tries to walk up and fight me because he knows what I did. So I was like, oh, you trying to die today? And that's when he walked off. He's like, he's trying to walk up and fight me, bro. And he was physically bigger than me. He was like almost 300 pounds. Like, I'm not gonna fight this old fucking obese fuck, bro. So I just, like, was like, are you trying to die today? And I put my hand in my pocket, and that scared the fuck out of him. Like, he literally backed off.
So
at this point,
let me ask you a few questions, bro.
Yeah, and I'm at the bank at this point waiting for the cops. But go ahead. Yeah.
So you decided to wait at the bank? Like,
Yeah.
the cops
I went
coming.
back. So I went across the street, bought the big gulp full of ice, didn't even put soda in it, came back, just sat there.
What happened to the Baltimore character?
I don't know. I haven't seen him again since that. Like, that's the last. That was it. He's probably on the run for killing his family. I don't fucking know, bro, if he actually did that. It's kind of crazy.
Wow. So what made you stay and wait for the cops? Did you know they were coming?
Oh yeah, yeah, oh for sure. I just stood there and waited for the cost because I just robbed a bank. I don't know.
You
And
kind of
I
gave up at that point?
pretty much like it wasn't that I was giving up. I just knew what was coming. You can't like what are you supposed to at that point you have nowhere to go.
You
Once you go into a
accepted the
bank,
consequences.
you have to yeah, they're gonna find you. You just did that, right? So it's just like so they showed up. Um I explained what I did and they're like, hey man, I really want to take you to Unity, but you're saying you consciously know what you did, and it's just like making it hard for me to like take you to Unity and not charge you. So we have to take you to jail because
Because
I
you conscious?
because I told them what I was just straight up about what happened. Yeah, about walking in and doing that. They asked me what happened.
So you're
They're just
obviously tripping.
laughing the whole time. They're chatting in the car about it, just like whatever. This is weird.
Did they
Like
even like handcuff you, detain you, like, or are you just talking to them? What, like,
I got handcuffed and yeah, all that stuff. I don't. I can't remember if I got handcuffed. I believe I did. Yeah, no, they were really chilled to me. They didn't approach me violently. They just like walked up to me all calm, collective, and asked me what was going on, and then searched me and arrested me because they basically were like, "Yeah, dude, I mean, it seems like you know what you did, and it's like I really want to take you to Unity, but I can't. I have to take you to jail because you're just a." But eventually, when I got to jail, after a couple of weeks of being in jail, they could tell I was mentally deteriorating, and I really did need to be in
weeks?
Unity. Oh
That's,
yeah, 2 weeks. Oh yeah, it was 2 weeks for sure.
man,
Yeah.
that's a long time over 50 cents.
Oh yeah, dude. So like at that time, and the same CO, I can tell a different story later. There's a lot of the same COs that the next year that ended up getting locked up for some other bullshit. They were there and have some stories, between both times I was locked up with these COs, good and bad. But yeah, man. So yeah, after 2 weeks of being in jail, miserable, with the guy over the intercom threatening me, saying, "Hey, yeah," after everything he told us, and they even took me to the interview room, and I told them everything too. And so yeah, over the intercom in jail, the guy's like, "Yeah, I went over your social media and everything you told me, and it looks like you're gonna be in here for a long time." And then shortly after that, I requested while I was in jail, I requested to be like euthanized, basically, like legally. Uh, is that the word? Like kill myself legally. So
You can do
because of
that?
that, yeah. So basically, because of that request, they noticed, okay, he is having a mental health crisis, and then
Because you're
I
suicidal now.
yeah, so I was having a mental health crisis to the point where I couldn't, they would not let me go to the courtroom. So because of that, that's when they said, okay, we're going to dismiss it because it was because of how I was deteriorating in jail. If it wasn't for that, they were going to pursue charges, take me to the courtroom, but I really was going downhill. So they're like, fuck it, this
Two
guy
weeks
really
in
needs
jail
help.
over some crazy, over like 30 minutes of just craziness. Like, that's tough.
Oh, yeah, just over 50 cents for sure. But then once I got transferred to Unity, they made me like a high profile thing too, where they're like, okay, you're the high profile case. They were more strict with you. You got to be here longer than everybody else.
But you got your clothes back, you got your phone, but you're still like locked in like a hospital.
Yeah, but that's where I met you, bro.
And
That's
then
where
we
shit
met.
shit goes uphill from there. But like,
And that's
yeah, dude.
part two. That's part two of this video series. Because I have to tell you what I was doing while you were doing that.
Yeah, that you should actually include that in this part because that's actually you were doing that at the same time. We got
Well,
locked
let
up.
me tease it now. It's ironic that you did that and it was at the height of all this stuff going on just in the world in general that you just like kind of just like had a moment of weakness and just kind of gave into the evil side, but you're still trying to not be evil. You know, it was a lot of conflict. So I understand that when you're like tripping, you're having like a
It's
psychosis.
weird, right? Because you're like, oh, you
It's
believe,
good
oh,
and
this is
bad.
almost like a deal with the devil, but I'm still a good person. So I'm like, oh, I got to figure out how to finesse this. So yeah, I put myself in a weird situation that even though all that was fake and delusional,
And when you're thinking like that, you can't even function, dude.
just it's too much. If your brain's thinking like that, it's the same people that hit us up thinking, oh, I'm a clone from Clonaid. It's the same type of people that like get obsessed about that fantasy, and it's like I got obsessed in the fantasy.
Like the people who think I'm like in the Illuminati.
But when you have, it sucks when you're in that state because I wouldn't have never had that happen, and my life would have been totally different if some other psychotic person didn't approach me, right? It's kind of crazy, right? That
Yeah,
another
it was like the mix of both of you just being wild as shit. You're like, oh fuck. Not only do you need to get out of there, but you're trying to follow this weird moral compass that's all over the place. Yeah, it's a mess. It's chaotic. For sure. So how? Wow. But you know what? Let's continue this in
you know,
part
they're
two.
paying us, bro. They're paying us. So
Yeah,
gotta
they're
increase
paying
the
us, so we're gonna make that part two. That was very, bro. Thank you for sharing. First and foremost.
What do you think of the story? Any questions after story questions?
I think you didn't even deserve going to jail. I don't know what was the bail situation or at all, but I think the cops handled that very poorly.
Okay.
And I think the problem with the system in general, with police and medics and EMTs, is that a person can only get mental health treatment once they say they want to kill themselves. But someone might need mental health treatment before they get to the point of wanting to kill themselves.
There's a
But
time in
it's
jail,
hard
man.
for them to
I,
get that
I got
help.
I gotta tease the story, dude. I gotta tease the story. There's a time in jail that I had to say I was suicidal, so they moved me to a different unit because I had threats from the inmates that were the cooks that were gonna fuck up my food. So I had to get to a different floor. So I would like get transferred back
And the jail is
after.
like a skyscraper. For the people who don't know, the jail is a skyscraper. It is full of
So
people.
when you say, "Oh, I'm anything suicidal," they have to transfer you. Then they notice you're not suicidal, they'll put you back. So I literally just say something suicidal again, they have to transfer you, and I had to keep doing that because it was for a little bit, bro. Like
To
just
just
for
get back into society.
just protocol. They know, oh, he's not suicidal, but protocol. He said, "I'm suicidal." Now I gotta move him. So it's like I had to do that just to eat, bro. Straight up, like.
Wow. And that's a way rougher place to be locked up than I've ever experienced. So, bro.
Oh God, dude, you don't want to be locked up in Portland, dude.